Farming and food production in Africa can be hugely challenging. Small-sized land holdings, poor quality seed stock, disease, inadequate agricultural supports, and a climate that can fluctuate from months of searing heat to periods of torrential rainfall. All of these factors make it difficult for millions of rural Africans to produce enough food for their survival. In recent times, a new challenge has emerged as the effects of global warming have put millions of poor Africans at the front line of climate change. The rains have disappeared, seasons have changed, and the farming communities are the first to suffer. While the industrialized countries of the Western world must take primary responsibility for the causes of climate change, Africa's poor are being forced to face the consequences. But those living in Africa's climate frontline are facing up to this reality. Communities are adapting to their changed environment by building on local knowledge, changing the way they live, and by diversifying their livelihoods. As the rains fail, irrigation schemes allow 2 or 3 harvests each year. As crop prices rise and fall, crop diversification means that communities are better able to withstand market fluctuations. As temperatures rise and growing seasons change, communities have learned how to best conserve natural resources and protect their environment. As soil becomes drier and the water table falls, farmers have built dams and undertaken a range of innovative water conservation measures to protect their crops, their livelihoods, and their futures. Climate Frontline is a project that allows voices of men and women in vulnerable African communities to be heard directly. They describe in their own words how climate change is affecting their lives and how they are adapting to survive. By sharing their experiences, we hope that policymakers, non-governmental organizations and frontline communities can learn more about adaptation and begin to work together to transform surviving communities into thriving communities. More support is needed for these adaptation efforts so that agricultural research institutes can roll out drought-tolerant crop varieties to rural farmers, so that farm communities can develop irrigation systems, so that the rural poor can begin to cope with the changed landscape. Adaptation funding must be sufficient, fair and reliable, with the cost of mitigation borne by those who are responsible for the pollution that cause global warming. Climate change is here, and the people most affected by it, poor subsistence farmers, are least able to cope with it. Climate change is here to stay, and so we must learn to adapt to it. Climate change is the challenge of this century, and we must support those we have placed in the front line.